Kemudian adapun kategori pemenang yaitu juara 1, 2, 3 bersama, dan ini diambil apabila peserta mendapatkan nilai total 4 tertinggi. Peserta dengan juara 1, 2, 3 bersama berhak mendapatkan piagam dan sertifikat, sedangkan peserta nomor urut dengan nilai total pada urutan 5, 6, 7, 8 nanti akan kami pilih ya untuk bisa berhak atau berkesempatan memenangkan beberapa kategori seperti Best Performance, Best Design, Best Content, Best Media, dan Best Speech ya, sehingga semua peserta yang masuk ke dalam babak final pada pagi hari ini akan berhak mendapatkan sertifikat atau bisa membawa pulang sertifikat seperti itu. Baik, itu saja yang kami sampaikan. Mungkin ada yang ingin ditanyakan oleh peserta? Sudah jelas? Sudah jelas? Oke,
Jelas.
baik. Oke, terima kasih. Sudah jelas ya? Silakan mempersiapkan diri peserta nomor urut 1. Untuk para juri kami mengingatkan kembali untuk penilaiannya masih di link yang sama, nggih, namun di sheet yang berbeda, yaitu sheet babak final. Oke, peserta nomor 1 dari Stikes Kepanjen mohon mempersiapkan diri. Saya akan share screen. Waktu dimulai dari sekarang.
Baik, terima kasih. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my respected judges and participants. Thank you for the committee and the judges who given me the opportunity to present my research with the new title, The Untold Story of Depression in Social Media. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Marta Yuniti Fikarhina, and I'm from Stikas Kepanjen. Before we dive deeper into this topic, need to know that reported by Compass.com on December 17, 2023, at least in the last 11 years, there were 2,112 cases of suicide in Indonesia, 985 cases, or should I say 46.63% of it were committed by teenagers or adolescents, and the cause is actually depression. Let's take a look at the definition of both of it first. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello? I'm sorry. Can you please move to the next slide, please?
Mohon maaf Bapak Ibu ya, kelempar kami ya, ada masalah jaringan. Baik, Kita mulai dari awal ya. Waktu dimulai dari sekarang.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My respected judges and participants, thank you for the committee and the judges who have given me the opportunity to present my new research with the new title, The Untold Story of Depression and Social Media. First of all, before we started, let me introduce myself. My name is Marta Yuniti Fikarhina and I'm from Stikas Kepanjen. Before we dive deeper into this topic or these issues, need to know that reported by Compass.com on December 17, 2023, at least in the last 11 years, there were 2,112 cases of suicide in Indonesia, 985 cases, or should I say 46.63% of it were committed by teenagers or adolescents, and the cause is actually depression. Let's take a look at the definition of both of it first. Let's move to the next slide, please. The first one we have here is depression. According to World Health Organization on March 31, 2023, depressive disorder, aka depression, is actually common mental disorder, which is it involves depresses mood or loss of pleasure or interest in activities for long periods of time. On the other hand, we have social media. According to Mula Warman in COSASI 2020, social media is actually consists from two words, which are social and media. Social is actually action or interaction of a people with the surrounding communities. On the other hand, we have media is actually a tool that used to communicate one another. In this case, depression could be caused by so many things, but mostly it comes from family and social environment, such as getting in divorced family or getting bullied by other people. By getting such a heavy pressures, not a few teenagers or adolescents choose social media as a distraction. Little did they know, they're gonna feel dependent and choose to live in virtual life than a real life. Let's move to the next slide, please. All right, here's I'm going to provide to all of you about the population in Indonesia, the number of internet and social media users in Indonesia. The first one, we have the total population in Indonesia is actually 276 million people. The second one, we have the number of internet users in Indonesia, 213 million users. Last but not least, the number of social media users in Indonesia is 167 million users. On this average, each people has one or at least more than one devices. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, on these cases, we will have a question like, how could it be? How depression could get worse on teenager or adolescents by using social media? Let's move to the next slide and let's dive more into the reason. Next slide, please. Okay, here's at least top three reasons that come into my observation. The first one is the absorption of both positive and negative content without being filtered first by teenagers or adolescents. As we know, there's 1,000 contents out there on social media, whether it's positive or negative, and it will still be accepted by teenagers. And it could lead stress or depression as well. When teenagers or adolescents are receiving negative content or negative information, and it could impact their behavior as well. The second one is the mindset that virtual life is much better than real life. Well, we must be wondering why this mindset actually come into teenagers and adolescents' mind nowadays, because getting a lot of pressure from people around us in the real life, teenagers and adolescents feel way more safer in the virtual life while using the social media, of course. The third one is onset of overthinking and feeling of loneliness. When teenager or adolescents choose to use social media and get into virtual world more, they're gonna isolate themselves and suddenly gonna feel a lot of feelings, especially loneliness, because there are less of interaction with other people in the real life. Let's move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Of course, if we talk about the cause, there is an effect as well. The first one is tendency to isolate oneself from social interaction and turn into virtual worlds that are perceived as better by adolescents or teenagers than in real life. Once again, as I explained it on the previous slide, when teenagers and adolescents feels like a real life is getting heavier each time and giving such a hard time and such a lot of pressure, they will choose to move into the virtual world, and they will prefer that as a better world to live in than the real life. The second one, we have the emergencies of a self-diagnosis attitude towards content about physiological health. As we know, there's a bunch of mental health content out there, especially on social media, whether it's positive or negative, and it will still be accepted by teenagers or adolescents. Once again, it will cause an attitude of them to diagnose themselves because they already isolated themselves and choose to live in the virtual world. And the third one, we have the thought that suicide is a good decision to end a problem. Why is that coming to teenagers and adolescents' mind? Well, while as a teenager and adolescents, when they choose to live an individual life, they will feel a lot of mental damage as well. And when they're receiving negative content, negative information, starting to diagnose themselves, and plus when they're getting a pleasure from real life, there's gonna be a thought of suicidal to be the final decision that could solve every problem.
Waktu kurang 3 menit.
Let's move to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. So what's the prevention that I could provide as a nursing student and as a health worker in the future? The first one, providing positive stimulation from the family, social, and health worker environment. The second one, opening a free counseling for teenagers or adolescents so that they can their feeling can be channeled. The third one is educating teenagers and adolescents for stress coping and how to channel it into more positive active. The last for me, let us be more care and sensitive to other people, especially to people around us, because when we care more, there's going to be a less cases of depression. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih atas penampilan dari Stikes Kepanjen. Untuk selanjutnya kami persilakan kepada Ibu Risna untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Baik Ibu, mohon izin saya mematikan kameranya karena jaringannya tidak stabil, Bu.
Oke, enggak apa-apa. Silakan, Bu.
Okay, Martha, well done. It's a great. The things that I want to ask is, if you were with the Ministry of Technology, what would you do to reduce the negative impact of social media to the youth, especially to the youth? Okay, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your questions. I'm gonna try my best to giving possibly the best answer. If I was one of it, I'm gonna try to filter all the content that gonna be spread all over social media, whether it's positive or negative, or is it gonna be educating teenagers or adolescents about social media and mental health as well, especially when it comes to depression. That's possibly the best answer that I could give you, ma'am.
Cukup Ibu Risna atau ada ingin diberikan feedback kembali atas jawabannya?
Oke, saya kira cukup Bu Lailil. Terima
Baik,
kasih. Okay, thank you Martha for the answer.
Thank you very
silakan
much,
Ibu
ma'am.
Bilza.
Ya, terima kasih Laili. Ibu Laili. So Marta, that was a great presentation. I'm enjoying your presentation. The thing that I want to ask to you is about, could you please elaborate more about the positive stimuli that you mentioned before? What is the action of it? How to implement it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I'm gonna try to answer your questions. The positive way to stimulate for adolescents and teenagers actually comes to our words. Verbal is actually really work on teenagers and adolescents nowadays. Sometimes we just need people to speak kind words to make us feel better in the real life. So I want to educate the family or social environment as well as us who's going to be health worker in the future to spread the kind words, educating teenagers and adolescents how to channel their feelings, their thought, so that we can reduce the number of depression cases. That's the best answer that I could possibly give you, ma'am.
All right, so how do you want to educate them?
By making a video and educating through social media. Nowadays, it's really work for adolescents and teenagers as well. And open up a free counseling. Especially when it comes to us as a nursing student, we could work with our university as well to open up a free counseling for adolescents or teenagers out there, not only for us, college student, but for all the teenagers here, so that we can speak up our feelings, our thought, our pressures that we feel. We could channel it into more positive activities.
All right, that's enough. I like your
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you,
Baik,
ma'am.
terima kasih untuk pertanyaan dari para juri. Untuk selanjutnya, terima kasih Mbak Marta ya atas penampilan dan juga jawabannya. Peserta nomor 2 silakan mempersiapkan diri.
Baik, apakah suara saya terdengar dengan jelas?
Ya, sudah jelas.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu.
Ya, waktu dimulai dari sekarang.
Oh my God, I saw you on TikTok and you look so amazing. The sentence that has given me butterflies in my stomach was spoken by my seniors in university, which was my very first day on campus. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Respectfully, the judges and all these incredible contestants. My name is Rivaldo Santiago Mau. I'm a third-year nursing student and I'm representing Universitas Katolik de la Salle, Manado. I've been through many hardships, one of which happened in 2021. The sentence that I said before isn't a compliment, but that was your first step to start bullying. And it's related to an interesting topic that I want to share with you today. It's about empowering the youth to build resilience to change social media's negative impact on mental health. Next. All right, next. Okay. Okay. According to the data from Global Social Media Statistic 2023, where all groups from children to adults spend on average of 2 hours a day using social media. And based on the data from We Are Social, Facebook is the first most used social media all around the globe. Different from some of my friends who have not used Facebook until now. Followed in second place by YouTube. YouTube is an application that many people need like us, as a student who often look for learning references via YouTube. The third app is WhatsApp. Many people have used this application to connect or chatting with other people, and next, Instagram. Almost young people use Instagram to share stories and posts. And the last is TikTok. This application is still widely used nowadays, just for fun. Meanwhile, next.
I'm sorry, we have a signal problem here. Just wait a minute.
Okay. Meanwhile, if we compare with global data, Indonesian citizens use social media more every day. The application that is frequently used in Indonesia is WhatsApp. Then is Instagram is the second place, and finally Facebook in the rank third. Next. My question is, so how many times do you find yourself checking your phone for a notification every day? Honestly, I immediately check my phone when there was a notification. I guess we did the same thing. Next. Here it is, the 6 stressors on social media. And the first one is self-dissatisfaction. This can happen because we often compare ourselves with other people. Imagine when we are using social media and see how many people have privilege and makes us feel insecure and inferior. The second one is online harassment. Sorry, could you back please? Online harassment. Online harassment known as hate speech. Hate speech is a significant stressor in social media because it can lead to psychological effects such as anxiety, fear, and even psychical harm. Research has shown that exposure to hateful speech online can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and depression, as well as decreased academic performance and communication with strangers on social media. The third one is sleep problems. Sleep problems are a significant stressor in social media due to several factors such as sleep deprivation and depression. A study published in the Iran Journal of Psychiatry showed a positive correlation between time spent on social media and duration, which can lead to depression. And also we have anxiety. Anxiety is a top stressor in social media due to various factors. The first one is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying and social media platforms can be hotspots for cyberbullying, with offensive comments, hurtful rumors, and abuse that can cause lasting emotional scares, and also contributing to anxiety and depression. And also, we have absorption. Excessive sharing on social media can lead to unhealthy self-centeredness and a focus on seeking validation from others, which can impact mental health negatively. We have addiction. Addiction to social media is a significant stressor due to several factors. Dopamine release. Social media platforms are designed to be addictive and trigger the release of dopamine in the brain's reward center. And the last one is fear of missing out, or well known as FOMO. The fear of missing out on social media can lead anxiety and depression, as individuals may feel excluded or left out when they see others engaging in activities without them. Next. These are some of social media that I often use. Continuing my story before, as a 17-year-old man who wanted to play TikTok, I was bullied by my seniors. They talk about me and they laugh at my TikTok videos. I can feel several factors that I explained before. It hurts and makes me feel insecure. Next. I'm sorry, next. Okay. From the article that I read before, insecurity makes a person feel less confident, often comparing other people's achievements and accomplishments with other people and always like they are bad or even worthless. Next. Have you ever wondered how can social media be used as a tool for positive mental health in youth? Next.
Waktu tinggal 3 menit.
Here are some strategies that I use for maintaining my mental health. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness can be a powerful tool for positive mental health in youth. By developing greater self-awareness, individuals can better manage their mental health and improve their overall quality of life. The next one we have education. Education is crucial. By providing them with the knowledge, skills, and resources they need to navigate the challenges they face. Some strategies for using education as a tool for positive mental health in youth include mental health education, also emotional and social learning. Also, we have a growth mindset. We believe that change and growth are possible under the right condition, such as with expert mentoring. This belief can lead to increased resilience, which help offset the effects of stressor on mental health. Next. Also, we have positive content. Positive content on social media can include news feeds and posts that make individuals feel good and inspire them to achieve more, as well as the venues for personal development and growth. Strategies to get into the habit of being motivated to embrace positive change and being able to contribute to others' mental health and well-being can also be beneficial. The next one is a supportive online community can be a powerful tool for positive mental health in youth by providing a safe and inclusive space for individuals. And the last, we have some strategies for encouraging a balanced use of social media include setting device-free times, establishing times during the day when youth do not use their electronic device can help them engage in real-life activities and social interactions. Next. In conclusion, in living our lives, there are so many obstacles that can affect our mental health, one of which is insecurity. Just like Oprah Winfrey said that where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Next. And my biggest hope after this presentation, I challenge each of you when you wake up in the morning and see and look into the mirror, see all of your greatness that you embody, accept it and love it. Because you're unique, and you deserve to live peacefully in this universe. My name is Harry Palomao. I'm representing Universitas Katolik de la Salle Manado. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih saudara Rivaldo Mau dari Universitas Katolik de La Salle atas penampilannya. Kami persilakan kepada Ibu Risna untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Baik, Bu. Terima kasih atas kesempatannya. Okay, thank you, Rivaldo, for your presentation. Before I start my question, I want to ask you, Did you ever heard the term pubbing? Did you ever heard about it? The term pubbing?
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time, please?
Did you ever heard pubbing term? Pubbing.
Yes, I did.
Oh yes. Okay. Uh, the thing that I want to ask is just how do you perceive this term? And oh no, okay, just that, just only. How do you perceive pubbing term as you as the youth? Okay, that's all.
Mas Rivaldo, apa masih di Zoom? Kayaknya keluar ya Mas Rivaldo. Mas Rivaldo.
Iya, ini ada papi. Pasti stabil.
Ini juga. Mas Rivaldo. Ofisialnya mungkin minta tolong untuk dibantu. Ini ada official dari.
Oke.
Oke.
Baik, apakah suara jelas?
Sudah, ya sudah jelas.
Okay. Respectfully, the judges, thank you for the question. Well, I've
Mas, ini
been
diganti ya Mas ya? Oh, nggak usah gini aja. Oh, oke. Makasih Mas.
many true hardships in pubbing term. Since I was in junior high school, I always using my social media, and it disturbed my academic, which is I in the 4th rank in the class, and I'm so stressful at the time, and I try to make a daily activity to improve myself, to make a schedule for my activity, and to prevent pubbing. Is that enough?
Okay, the problem is enough, I think. Thank you for the answer.
Baik, sudah cukup ya jawaban untuk Bu Risna sudah cukup nggak?
Sudah mulai, terima kasih.
Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Kami persilakan Ibu Filza.
Hi, Rivaldo. You all right?
Hi,
Seems like
Miss.
you're not really excited during presentation, but that's fine. So you are such an influencer on social media. So how do you make a balance use on social media? Thank you.
Respectfully, judges, thank you for the question. Well, first of all, I think the one of the most important thing that we should put into our life is self-awareness, because self-awareness can change our entire life to do a better to make a better activities in the future. And as a influencer, I can balance my activity between social media and my daily activity. I make a schedule every day, and I actually make a schedule that improve my skills about time management, and I'm glad to be influencer, and also I did an amazing job at the platforms. Thank you.
Apakah sudah cukup, Bu Filza, atau ada pertanyaan lagi? Oke, sudah cukup baik. Terima kasih Mas Rivaldo Sandiagumawu atas penampilan dan juga jawabannya. Untuk peserta nomor urut 3, mohon mempersiapkan diri.
Baik, Bu Lailil, apakah suara saya bisa terdengar?
Ya, sudah jelas.
Terima kasih.
Oke, selamat pagi Mbak Bir ya. Izin saya share screen ya.
Ya, silakan, monggo.
Is it show online?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. Wait a minute, I'm gonna slideshow the slide. Yes, you may start now.
Thank you. 20 years ago, a girl may have been excluded from her best friend's activities. And she may have not known about it because, I'm sorry, can I start again, please? 20 years ago, girl may have been excluded from her best friend activities, and she may have not known about it until she was told explicitly. And in our today's society, people are sharing everything in social media. So missing those kind of experience can really create social anxiety and also depression. Hi, my name is Bin Haryanti. I'm from Stikas Patria Husada Blitar. I'm so great to be back here today. And I'll be speaking about whether or not social media is bad for our mental health. Next, please. Thank you. I will start talking. First, what are the diagnoses of mental health in our community? Second, what are the common stressors that we can see in our social media? The third, and who are these victims online that we know? And the last one, we're going to talk about how to have a better experience when we are using these platforms. Next, please. Okay. Have you ever experienced a phantom 5% syndrome? This is when you, I'm sorry, can you go to the next previous slide? Thank you. Yeah. When you think your phone went on, but you didn't. Imagine when you're having lunch or dinner with your friends or family, enjoying your meals and conversation, and suddenly you just had to get that phone. You know, take photo of yourself, of your family, or your friends, or even that food, posted it in social media. I know I have. And if that social media was doing that kind of thing to me, I was wondering what was it doing to anyone else? And then I realized that I wasn't alone. Next slide, please. The Center for Collegiate Mental Health, they found the top 3 diagnoses in campuses university. Number 1, anxiety. 2nd, depression. And the last one is stress. And numerous studies in many countries have linked this high use of social media with a high level of anxiety and depression. Next, please. Thank you. When we are looking at this worldwide digital population as of January 2024, what we understand is, number 1, thank you. There were 5.35 billion internet users worldwide. 2nd, out of that total, 5.4 billion were social media users. And the 3rd, 90% of those in between 19 to 29 years old happen to be the most active demographic. And then they spend an average of 2 hours a day. Imagine 2 hours a day is quite a long time. And if we don't even eat for 2 hours a day, and anything we spend that much time doing is going to have lasting effects on our life. Next, please. Thank you. Now let me introduce you to the 4 most common stressors in social media. And if they don't get recognized, this is going to create problem in our youth mental health. Number 1, highlight reels. Just like in sport, highlight reels is a collection of best or brightest moment. And our highlight reels is when we feel good, when we put up our wins, when we go out with our friends and family, but we struggle because with the insecurity of the comparing ourselves with behind the scene of somebody else highlight reels. Yes, it happened before with the TV and celebrity, but this time it is happening all the time, and then it is directly linked to you. Number 2, social currency. Just like dollar or rupiah, currency is something that we use to attribute value to a good or service. And in social media, that likes, that comments, or that shares are the form of currency. And it would have been great if what we are selling, say, clothes or property or even album, let's say. But in this case, we are the product. We are letting others to attribute value to us. Say you know someone or are someone taking out the photo from the internet just because it doesn't get enough likes or comment. You know what do? We took our product off the shelf because it wasn't selling fast enough. This is changing sense of our identity. Number 3, FOMO, or fear of missing out. I think we're going to hear a lot of this, especially today. This FOMO is an actual social anxiety from the fear of missing a potential connection, event, or opportunity. And according to the collection, Canadian University, they found out that 7 in 10 students said they would get rid of their social media account if it weren't for the fear of being left out. Number 4, online harassment. 40% of users online have experienced this harassment, and 70% of those have witnessed it. And then the number is much worse if you are, let's say, from minority or LGBT. Next slide, please. I believe some of you have heard these stories, very tragic one. Tyler Clementi, who killed himself after his roommate secretly filming him kissing another guy and posted on Twitter. What about Anita Sarkeesian, who received death and rape threats just because she expressed her feminism in the internet? We see this kind of story when it is too late. Now, what about our day-to-day life, like those ugly photos we have, or those ugly Snapchats we send to our friends with the intention of being kept private, and it is now uploaded in Facebook? You know what they say? It's okay, just one ugly photo, just one ugly mint, or, it's not a big deal. But if that minor moment happen again and again over time, that's when we are going to have a big problem. If they don't get recognized, and if the effect is unnoticed, we are going to have many more Tyler Clementis in our life. Next, please.
Waktu tinggal 3 menit.
Thank you. How many of you here see the notification on top of my slide? This is just small thing what social media can do to us. We simply can't focus. That notification is hanging there. It's calling us. It needs to be checked. And that need will eventually turn into an addiction. And then with every like, with every share, with every comment, we got that feel-good chemical, that dopamine. And then we gain more social currency. And what do? We check likes just one more time. We post just once more time. And we feel anxious if we don't have access to it. And then that's where we see the rising level of the anxiety and depression. Those FOMO, those highlight reels, those addiction and comparison again and again. Next, please. Now, social media isn't the problem. The problem is how we choose to use it. It doesn't always give a bad impact on someone's mental health. Now, how to keep our social media a positive and uplifting place? Number 1, this is what we should do. Follow the right people only. This includes your friends, your trusted friends, your family, positive acquaintance, somebody who align with your goals and those who inspired you. Number 2, find your corner in social media. There are groups of people in social media like you who share the same interests. Talk there. Talk about what you like to do in there with them, and it's going to be very helpful to you. Number 3, establish boundaries. It is also very important that we have to set up a timing for ourselves because we don't want it scrolling the TikTok or Instagram all day long. Number 4, Remember, social media is a highlighted reels. People show you what they want to show you. So we cannot compare ourselves, our actual life, to those highlighted reels or to those media's feed. Next, please. So the conclusion is social media bad for us? The answer is it doesn't have to be. Yes, it can tear you down and it can lift you up. It depends on you how you choose to use it. Social media is a platform that we can use for a good and positive purpose. Some tools that we can use for education, for aspiration, and also for motivation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I would like to allow the first judges, Miss Risna.
Oke, terima kasih Bu Ulfia atas kesempatannya. Oke, Bin Haryanti, is well done. You have mentioned us many negative impacts of social media.
Yes.
So, could you please tell us how you yourself reduce the negative impact FOMO? Okay, that's.
Thank you, Ms. Krishna. In my opinion, what we can do to reduce that anxiety or that FOMO in our youth generation is that first, we can encourage them to do more online activities. For example, exercise, doing their hobbies, or do some readings. And second, what we can suggest them is to have for us, or to have a role model. If we are somebody who is older in our family, we can set an example to our, let's say, little brother or little sister that that using social media too much, it's not a good for our mental health and sorry, it's not good for our mental health. That's the answer, Miss. I hope that are you happy with that, or you have any questions or comments?
Okay, I think that's enough for your answer. Thank you, Bin Haryanti.
You're welcome, Miss.
Thank you, Ms. Rishna, for the answer. And I would like to allow Ms. Silza for the question.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rufia. Bin Haryanti, okay, was great. So I noticed that you mentioned several examples people who died because of social media. From your perspective, why that happened? What the problem? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vilsa. In my opinion, there are a lot of factors that is associated to how people finally committed suicide just because of this online harassment. As I mentioned before, that those are just, the online harassment is something that we should be worried about because, okay, the first thing when we are being told like, okay, you're fat, or I'm sorry, you're ugly, or you're not interested. Maybe 1 or 2 times it's okay, but if that happens all the time, like it's gonna be like stuck in our mind or in our head, saying that okay, I'm ugly or I'm fat, I'm not worth of living. So okay, let me just end my life. That's the answer, Space. Do you have any comments or questions?
So do you think the problem is because the people, I mean like the people who comment or the one who use the social media?
I think, in my opinion, the problem is those people, like the dark side of social media is not dark. Like I said, it can be used as a positive things, but there are dark people like who used only to, like, I don't know, maybe they get some kind of satisfaction if they can bully somebody, or if they can get a happiness from doing those things that are not supposed to be done. So I think my answer is just because of the wrong people is doing in the wrong way. Thank you. So
what do you think you can do to prevent many victims on social media?
Thank you. The first, I would be aside of encouraging those offline activities, it is also important for us, like as ourselves, as our young generation, telling that we have to know our self-esteem, because we don't care what people saying about us, whether we are stupid, we're ugly or what. But if we know our worth, if we know our self-esteem, this is going to be very good way for us to improve our quality of life, and also in the long term, it's going to help us to like succeed the career in our own term, not in their own term, like not somebody else's own terms.
Yeah, that's all for me.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer and question. And we're gonna move to the next presentation. Peserta nomor 4 sudah bersiap?
Ya, sudah.
Oke, sebentar saya
Am
siapkan.
I audible?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can start your presentation from now.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, the honorable adjudicators, my dear audience, and all the participants. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the chance that has given to me. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself first. My full name is Lydia Lapudoo. I am a student of Health Polytechnic Kupang, majoring medical laboratory technology. And in this final round, I would like to present about the social media and the youth mental health. And the title that I choose for this presentation is that Spread Awareness of Mental Health Through Social Media. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so have you guys ever heard about cyberbullying, or have you guys ever experienced it? Okay, so I would like to define what cyberbullying is. According to UNICEF, cyberbullying is a bullying or harassment using digital technology, and this can happen on social media, messaging platforms, gaming platforms, or even cell phones. And these actions are carried out repeatedly with the aim of frightening, injuring, and humiliating the people who are targeted. Some of the actions include spreading the lies or hoax, or uploading embarrassing photos or videos of someone on social media, and it could also involve the sending hurtful, abusive, or threatening message, image, or even videos. As you guys can see at the right slides, there is a cases that happened to a teenage girl, which is a senior high school teenagers who decided to end her life because she was embraced that her nude photos and videos were known and shared by her schoolmates. And then the pictures below, it shows us the hate comment that we usually find in social media, and maybe some of us think that it's just a simple kind of thing, but actually it is the example of cyberbullying, and it can have in fact a very bad impact on a person's mental health. Next slide, please. So do you know, guys, that according to the Central Bureau of Statistics in March 2023, 94.16% of Indonesian youth age from 16 to 30 years old had used social media platform in the last 3 months. And adolescence is a crucial period for developing social and emotional habits important for mental well-being. And excessive use of social media can have an effect on youth mental health. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so here I will give you the definition of mental health. So according to WHO, mental health is represented as a state of well-being in which individuals recognize the potential, successfully navigate daily challenges, and perform effectively at work and contribute to her environment. So we all have mental health, and it is just as important as our physical health, and it deserves our attentions and our compassions as well. The fact is that the use of social media is called one of the causes of depressions. And is that true? The influence of social media on youth mental health is shaped by so many complex factors, such as what a teen sees and does online, with the amount of time they spend online, physiological factors such as maternity level and any pre-existing mental health conditions, and personal life circumstances, including the cultural, the social, and economic factors. Next slide, please. Okay, so no, so we have to take a look on how social media have a bad impact and harming teenagers. The first one is the feeling of freaking of missing out, or we all know as FOMO. So one of the consequences of the internet addictions is that FOMO syndrome, which means a teenager's fear of missing himself in informations on a various social media such as Instagram or even TikTok. And from this problem, the most influential impact in lives that the teenager is lack of social interaction with the surrounding people, and also because they are too busy to think about the updating informations on social media. The second one is poor self-worth. After spending so much time on social media, most teenager girls start to comparing themselves to celebrities because they want to appear as attractive, wealthy, and as thin as they do. And these kind of things can increase the insecurity with their own appearance and triggering the body image issues and also the low self-confidence. The third one is decline in activity, and also the teenagers will have a lack of quality of sleep, which is the adolescents who use social media frequently do not have devote time to activities that genuinely improve their cognitive functional, social skills, and physical activities. And the fourth one is social media could lead teenagers to do a self-harm or even suicide. Teenage can do anything online to gain attentions, and when young people witness someone engaging in self-harm, they emulate them without thinking for twice. Next slide, please. The next slide, please. So besides that social media also provides our of the positive impact that we can take and also that can affect on our mental health. The first one is they provide us the mental health resources, with many organizations and websites now over support from social media for the suffering from mental health challenge, and they raise awareness and bring people together in the share to share their experience. The second one is the positive inspiration, where social networks can have a positive impact by creating a peer information motivations, inspiring young people to develop their healthy habits, learn new skills for their dreams, and speak about the things that matter to them. And things can also find a positive role models from online. And then the last one is identify informations. Young people who express their opinion on social media experience increased well-being, study shows. And as a result of forming and experiencing their opinion, they develop their self-awareness and self-knowledge. Next slide, please. So social media is not always bad for you and your mental health. Social media can provide benefits for some youth by providing a positive community, connections with others who share identities, abilities, and interests. Social media also can provide you to will be able to express yourself more. So things that we can do to step away from the bad impact from social media and our mental health is the first and the main thing is you have to deal with yourself by accepting all the strength and all the weakness that you have, and stop to compare yourself with other people through online or from social media. And you could do a positive kind of things that can improve your skill as what we are doing right now, and you can try a new things or new hobbies. And then I want to encourage you guys to start to think positively, because you guys are what you think. The second one is to be a good listener and give support for someone who needed the most, and stop do self-diagnose, because it is very dangerous for you, all of you. You better immediately seek for professional help if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis. The third one is create boundaries to help balance online and offline activities, such as you give a limit. So
Waktu tinggal 3
there is
menit.
1 hour before you go to sleep, you have to put your phones down, so you will have a better quality of sleep. The third one is develop the protective strategies and healthy practices, such as tracking the amount of time you spend online and blocking unwanted contacts and content. The fifth one is don't take a part in online harassment or abuse. And then the sixth one is use your social media platforms such as Instagram, YouTube, or even TikTok to spread the awareness of mental health in young generation, and how we as a young generation can avoid the bad influence from social media. Next slide, please.
Waktu tinggal 2 menit.
Next slide, please. So the question is, what we are as a young generation, we could take a part to reduce the mental health problem in our society. So the first one is we can join a community, which is mental health community. And with this community, we could build a social media to spread the awareness of mental health issues in teenagers. And we can also provide the knowledge of the importance to take a good care of our mental health. Because someone who have a mental health problem, it will lead them to a bad behavior, is what I mentioned before, that they can do a self-harm, or even the worst is suicide. The second one is we can do a mental health campaign using our personal social media, which is from this social media we could spread the information about the importance to take a good care of our mental health, and then the bad influence of social media in our life. And then the last one is we could build a counseling service in campus and work together with all the lecturers, so that if there are any student who are experiencing a mental health crisis, they can able to join this counseling. And from this, and this is one of the program that have been implementing in our campus, which is in Health Polytechnic Kupang. The next slide please is. So here we come to the conclusion and the end of the presentation today, that we can maximize the benefits and minimize the harms of social media platforms to create a safer, healthier online environments for young generation, and also to
Mbak Lydia, mohon di unmute lagi mikrofonnya.
as a young generation, we have to fight for our mental health, and we have to use our social media in a right way and be wise and also be smart. Thank you, and I hope my presentation will be useful for all of us here, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Lydia, for your presentation. And I would like to ask Miss Risna, maybe you have some question for Miss Lydia?
Oke, baik Bu Olivia. Terima kasih atas kesempatannya. Oke, Lydia. Before that, I want to ask you, in your opinion, is the role of parents important in reducing the negative impact of social media? If yes, what should they do? And if no, why? Okay, can we read?
Okay, yes, the role of the parents, right, to reduce the social bad impact of social media in teenagers. Am I right? Okay, thank you for the questions, the honorable adjudicators. So, in my opinion, how we as a parents can take a part to reduce the bad influence of social media in our youth or in our kids is by the first one is to give the limit time to them to use social media, and then the second one we can take the social media and we can block the offensive content that could make a bad impact on our children, and then the third one is what we do is by give them the knowledge, give them information of how to use social media in a right way and in a wise way. And then the fourth one is we have to be able to be like their friends, so they are will be able to tell about their stories of what they are facing right now, so that they not experience it in mental health problem. I think that's all from me, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. The first answer that you say is we have to give the time limitation for them. But could you please elaborate more? How could we limit the time uh, for for the teenager, especially as we know that you yourself have your own phone, right? And how could the parents give the limitation time?
How could the parents give the limitation times is by checking on, they keep an eye on the teenagers when especially when they want to go to sleep, they come to the room and ask them to put your phones down before you go to sleep, and so you will have a good quality of sleep. And then the other way is, as a teenagers or as adolescents, we also have to have the knowledge first. We have to have the knowledge about the importance or about the right use of social media, so that without our parents told us, we already know what should we do. So I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. It's enough.
Okay, thank you so much for Miss Risna and Miss Lydia for the question answer. And I would like to allow Miss Wilza to the room to ask some question to Miss Lydia.
All right, thank you, Miss Sophia. Hi, Lydia. So,
Hi,
what
Miss.
do you think the role? Yeah, what do you think the role of government and school to minimize or to prevent the bad impact of social media? Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you for the questions. So the role of the government and the school. The first one is the government is by they have to provide informations about the importance of mental health in teenagers or in adolescents by using the social media to spread the awareness of the importance of mental health, and also the bad impact of the social media that can affect on a person's or on teenagers mental health. So the second one is by to block all the offensive content or all the offensive content that will give a bad influence on someone's or on teenagers. And then the second one is the role of the schools or the campus in to reduce the bad impact of social media. Is first one is by give the knowledge or give the informations about the importance to take a good care of your mental health, and also to give the informations about the wise or the right way to use your social media. And then also the second one is the role of schools in reduce the mental health problem is by to by build a counseling which is provide all the students who have a mental health problem to join the counseling, so then they have someone to talk about their problem that they are facing in their life. Thank you, Miss.
Do you think the government need to create some regulation about the
Yes.
social media? And what is it? What do you think?
Yes, I
What kind
think
of
I agree with
regulation?
your is by make they have to make a security which is if there are any contents of that will have a bad impact on a person's or teenagers mental health, they have to block it. So automatically will be blocked, such as 18 plus content that will appear on children's social media. So they will automatically block it. So and it is the regulation that the government should build.
Does it?
Yes.
Is that it? All right then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Filza and Miss Lydia, for the good conversation. And I would like to ask for the number 5. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Pakai PDF ya, Mbak ya?
Iya, Bu.
Oke, sebentar. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Bu bisa diperkecil? Oh ya
Oh,
sudah. Oke,
okay.
sudah. Oke.
Wait a minute. Okay. Yes, you may start your presentation now.
Good morning, honorable judges and all my friends in this English competition. Thank you for having me today. My name is Novemika Fitria Aswinda and I'm from Dr. Sugandi University. As you can see on the screen, I will explain what is Love Action addressing youth mental health challenges in the age of social media. Next. Everywhere you look and everyone you see is glued to their phones. This behavior is dramatically contributing to mental health problems among the youth generation. How? Next. Let's take a look on a recent CDC study from 2011 to 2021 when social media use was booming. The percentage of teen girls who reported persistent feeling of sadness or hopelessness increased by nearly 60%. Next. In 2021, INAMS or Indonesia National Adolescent Mental Health Survey collected data on the impact of social contact restrictions during the COVID-19 pandemic. On the mental health of adolescents, out of 20 adolescents reported feeling more depressed, more anxious, lonelier, and having more difficulty concentrating compared to the before COVID-19 pandemic. From the data above, it can be concluded that the majority of youngsters suffer from mental health issues. Next. In other words, social media contribute to the nation's youth mental health crisis. Some reason why it can happen is because social media are, next, decreased self-esteem. Social media leads to social comparison, and for some people, comparing ourselves to others leads to worsening our self-esteem. Perhaps you see a picture of your friend on vacation, and you start comparing them with yourself, their expensive outfit, their family, and the other comparison that can trigger anxiety because it can make your life not good enough compared to them. Next, reducing productivity. Social media basically tries to keep you stay online, and if you are liking a post about a cute cat, those cute cats will pop out more on your feed, and you will stay longer on your social media. The temptation to check social media frequently can lead to distraction and a loss of focus. This can increase stress levels and disrupt work-life balance. The other cause, the other reason is FOMO or fear of missing out. Means that if everyone else is using social media sites and if someone doesn't join in, there's a concern that they will miss jokes, connection, or invitations. Missing experiences can create anxiety and depression because they feel unhappy or dissatisfied with what they have. Next. However, there are also positive impacts of social media on youth mental health, which is it allows them to raise awareness for those with mental illnesses. Also, they can find support in each other. So, in the mission to raise people's awareness and for the sake for our mental health, I will do online campaign. Next. This online campaign is called Love Mental Health. L for limit screen time. O opposite action. V value yourself. E eat healthy food and exercise. Next. Limit screen time. Limiting screen time is important. Besides for eyes health, excessive screen time, particularly on social media, can contribute to feelings of isolation, anxiety, and depression. So, try to limit your screen time. Set a time limit for yourself for however long you want to spend on social media and then stick to it. Whether it is 1 or 2 hours per day, make sure you stick to your time limit. Next. Opposite action. Dialectical behavior therapy or DBT suggests that one decisive way to combat overwhelming feelings is to act opposite to how you feel. First, it identifies the emotion you feel and how it is making you act, and then do something opposite to that negative behavior. For instance, if you feel stressed about an excitement and avoid it, try to face it instead of compounding your stress. Individuals who implement these things show higher levels of adaptability and cope better with pressures. So, this can affect individuals' overall mental wellness. Next, value yourself. Understanding self-worth is crucial because it is the foundation of self-esteem. A high sense of self-worth makes you feel more empowered and confident. Accepting your strengths and weaknesses can help enhance self-esteem. I know it is not easy, but you can start by practice self-esteem such as learning to forgive yourself, acknowledge your achievement, and being grateful. Next, eat healthy food and exercise. The type of food we eat has a huge impact on the mind. A healthy, well-balanced diet can help us think clearly. It can also improve concentration and attention span. Sugar and processed foods can lead to inflammation throughout the body and brain, which may contribute to mood disorders, including anxiety and depression. So, to boost your mental health, focus on eating plenty of fruits and vegetables. Exercise is known to release endorphins, which are chemicals in the brain that act as natural painkillers and mood elevators. This can help reduce feelings of stress, anxiety, and depression. However, We do think that it is not enough. There's still negative stigma towards people with mental health problems. That is the reason why people are afraid to seek help from professionals. Next. Next slide. Yeah. So, I will form a love mental health volunteer community that runs to raise people awareness about mental health issues and try to end the stigma in society. Next. Here are my mission plan. Counseling on schools, held a webinar and host a podcast. Next. First, counseling on school. We recognize the importance of regarding school as an ideal place to educate teenagers about the love campaign, and we can increase understanding about mental health issues and helping to seek help. From my experience, most schools in Jember welcome volunteers that hook with professionals, welcome volunteer students about mental health, also professionals or hospitals who welcome volunteer collaborations to help provide additional support to patients. This may be through run activities such as patient transport, patient meet and greet, and providing companionship. Next. Next mission is webinar. We cannot reach schools one by one, so we form a webinar. Choose speakers who are knowledgeable and experienced in the field of mental health. This could include mental health professionals, advocates, or individuals with lived experience. Next.
Waktu
The
tersisa
last
3 menit.
The last mission is host a podcast. This podcast is called Let's Talk Love Mental Health. Next. Podcasts are a great way to learn new information. They can also accelerate your personal growth and offer entertainment. In this podcast, the patient or someone who has experienced mental health problems can tell their experience without feeling ashamed or scared, because their face and identity will not be revealed if they don't want to, so they can freely share their feelings or experiences. In this Love Mental Health podcast, we can invite therapists, psychologists, behavioral scientists, and others. When people who listen to this podcast feel they have the same problem, they will feel that they're not alone and might find a solution together. We can use social media, university newsletter, and other channels to promote this podcast and attract listeners. I hope with this podcast we can create a successful mental health podcast at our university that educates, inspires, and supports the audience. Next. Lastly, every young person deserves to be supported and heard. With this love action, I hope we can raise awareness about youth mental health issues and end the stigma in society. Your mental health is the priority. Thank you. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you for Ms. Novemika for the presentation. And I would like to allow Ms. Risna.
Oke, thank you Bu Ulfia atas kesempatannya. Hai Novemika. The things that I want to ask you is,
Okay, since Ms. Risna has a signal problem, I would like to ask Ms. Filza first to have a question for Novemika.
All right, for sure. Namika, that's a good idea about your community. So the thing that I want to know more is about how long does your community run, and who can volunteer on the community?
I'm sorry, I think my connection is bad. I can't hear your voice clearly.
All right, so how long that community run, and who can be volunteer on the community?
I'm sorry, Miss Firza. I think your connection is kind of error sometimes, so we cannot hear you clearly.
How about now?
Yes, it's better
All right.
now.
All right, some framework, that kind of thing. So how long does your community run so far? And who can be volunteer on your community?
Okay, because this is a volunteer community, we invite people who are equally aware that mental health in teenagers is important and aware of the crisis that is happening today. And we can invite our friends on campus first and communicate the goals, expectation, and benefits of the volunteering. And we can collect enough donations. And the community, the community, this community is not held yet, but I've never done it before. But I've proposed this community through a proposal submission to the one of activities on the campus. There still are no response yet because it was submitted about 4 weeks ago, and we hope it will accepted by the campus soon.
So do you have a partner for run this community? Because I think if you want to run some community that is cover a lot of people and a lot of target, you need some kind of a co-founder or something. Do you prefer to have that?
Yes, I prepared that, and me and my friend have discussed about this. And first, why we should join this community is because first it can gain experience, it can help to develop skills in communication, empathy, build connections, and we can advancing knowledge about mental health issues. That is what I discussed with my friends.
All right, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Firza, for the question, and thank you, Novemika, for the answer. And is there Miss Risna here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Miss Ulfia, that I have a bad connection.
Yes, it's okay, Miss. You can proceed.
Okay, Novemika, you have mentioned many solutions to reduce the negative impact. One of them is podcast, right? Yes. Uh, the thing I wanna ask is, uh, do you have the recommended podcast that your friend can join? If yes, how do you invite your friend to join it? Why? Okay, first I would like to explain why we choose podcasts. Podcasts are easily listened on social media anytime, anywhere, making them convenient for learning on the go. And today's youth are very interested in listening podcasts instead of watching TV or read the news. Um, and it can be hosted. What makes the difference of this podcast and another podcast is that it can be hosted by individuals with relevant experience. We can include personal stories, and we can collaborate with influencers to engage more people, and then provide regular updates or episodes with fun stories behind the scenes. That's all for my answer. Okay, that's enough, Famika. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the conversation between Miss Risma and Miss Novemika. And we would like to pause for 5 minutes because we have to change the setting here in the university, and we will proceed the next contestant in 5 minutes. So I'm sorry that we have to stop for the 5 minutes. Oke, terima kasih. Mohon maaf. Untuk peserta nomor 6, oh ya, Mbak Atika ya? Ya, oke, sebentar. Mungkin suaranya sedikit agak keras, Mbak, karena di saya kecil.
Apakah sudah terdengar? Apa masih kecil?
Oh ya, ini sudah lebih baik. Oke.
Baik.
Oke. Wait a minute, I'm gonna share your screen. Yes. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. You may start. Oh, wait a minute. Can slide so. You may start your presentation now.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. A communication scientist and critic, Marshall McLuhan, once remarked, "We shape our tools, and thereafter our tool shapes you." I am Atika Ramadhaniswan, and I'm going to talk to you about the unintended consequences social media is having on our youth mental health. I'm a Gen Z, and I love technology and social media. I spend a solid 5 hours scrolling through my timeline, and honestly, it's a blast. Nothing really hurts me. But then this article pops up, claiming that social media is messing with my mental health. Now I'm wondering. Next slide, please. Next, please. Is social media really hurting my mental health as a youth? What cool Insta story idea will I post today? Which tweet will actually make a difference in my day-to-day? Or do you have any song suggestion for me to do a TikTok dance that will give me tons of likes in TikTok? Next, please. There is no doubt that most of people in the world today are aware of some of this application: Instagram, TikTok, X, Snapchat, or many of more. Next. From the result of research entitled Neurosensum Indonesia Consumer Trend 21, since the pandemic, around 87% of children in Indonesia have been introduced to social media before the age of 18. That means that 170 million active users in Indonesia, and the largest number of social media users are aged 18 to 24 years. So like one of those huge number is either me, you, or us, right? Next. Ladies and gentlemen, as a social media user, of course, I have felt the many advantages and disadvantages of social media. But in my opinion, I feel more of the advantages, or maybe I haven't felt the disadvantages yet. Next. So as a young internet user, I've been thinking lately, does social media actually mess with my mental health as a youth? Next. So to answer that question, I thought I would just give an answer to my story to see if it's true. So here is my story. When I first started using social media, it was just to keep in touch with some of my friends, and that's all. Until I noticed my question with real people were kind of fading. And I was struggling to handle my time because I couldn't resist to stop scrolling too much. Next. Next. And then I tried to challenge myself not to use social media for one day. In the first 5 hours without social media, I was very normal. But as soon as I reached almost 12 hours without social media, guys, guess what happened? It is totally anxiety inducing. I didn't ask to myself, what was happening to me? I felt like I was addicted. I mean, it probably felt like a drug addiction. I really couldn't stand checking what was happening on my social media at the time. I feel anxious and I start to feel the withdrawal effects of social media, and I find it really stressful. But isn't that strange, guys? Knowing that in fact, I lived without social media when I was younger, and I was just fine without social media. Next. Then I realized for the most of my life, the social media has been part of it, personally, professionally, and academically. Ladies and gentlemen, consider the impact on everyone else. If it was affecting me like this, what kind of ripple effect could it be creating to other else or you? Have you felt that till here there is something unusual in this part of my story? So let's just continue my story. Next. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just introduce you to the 4 aspects that are the most common stressors on social media that if go and check have the potential to become a full-blown mental health issues, and this is by no means a very exhaustive list that I have experienced. Next. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion moment. Social media is like the gallery of our best life, a collection of best and bright moments. We use our social media to show off, to put up our wins, to put up when we look great, to put up when we are with friends or with family. But you know what? We struggle with insecurity because we compare our behind the scene with everyone else champion moment. And as a result, we start comparing ourselves to other achievement. Next. So I'll give you an example from my case. Next. Next. Ada slideshow. Next. Yes. Here is an example from my case. My friend recently posted a picture with the caption "Dream Girl" featuring a bag I've been wanting for a while, but I haven't gotten it yet. Then I started wondering why I couldn't buy something like her. It is only something I can see and not something I can have. And I started to feel not good enough and not rich enough to be in this world right now. So when people post their achievement on social media and you suddenly start feeling not so great about yourself, that's when the second stressors come to your life, which is next, the number of likes and comments. Ladies and gentlemen, on social media, your comments, your likes, your shares is the cash or the money. People think their post hit the jackpot if they get tons of likes. I myself, I love likes. I'm happy to have sold something to my followers, and so I feel like I deserve it. But then, what's the problem? The problem is we are the product in social media. That means you let people give you value, right? You must know that there are people, or even us, or even me, who take down our selfies, who take down our picture because we don't get that many likes. And I will admit that I have done something like that in a very often time. Ladies and gentlemen, what is doing it to me? It's changing my sense of identity, and I start to question my self-worth about how people see me through likes. And that
Waktu
is really
tersisa
bad.
3 menit.
In fact, next. And then this is the thing that everyone else been talking about, FOMO. This is the trait that it really haunts my soul right now, or maybe even you guys there. When I see my friends chatting about something that happened on social media and I don't know anything, my expression would like, oh my God, I need to catch up. What thing have I missed? Even though it was a piece of news about the life of Celebgram, which is actually not that important, I shook my head, imagining myself, why would I be like that? But what if going on social media was a terrifying experience? Next. Then we come to the most evil stressors on social media, that is social online harassment. This is my story. My own friend, it happens to my own friends. It all started with my friend who posted my other friends' old childhood pic. And people start calling it ugly, which led to some non-stop teasing and cyberbullying, then which led my friends to suicide. That is really bad. My friend insisted to deleting it, but do you know what the poster responds? This is social media. Everyone does it. One bad comment doesn't mean anything. Relax. But what is the consequences? Next, suicide. Next. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. I love social media. I seriously enjoy my time on it. And hearing what I brought to you today might make you think that I want you to stop from social media, but I don't seriously. Social media is neither good or nor bad. It's just a tool we use to accomplish everything in our everyday life, like share stories or communicate with our family and friends. When we discuss the dark side of social media, what I want to discuss is not the dark side of social media, but the dark side of the people who are the users of the social media. This dark side that makes mockers mock, the feeling on indecency that makes you delete your photos even though you like the photo so much. The good news is that you can still maintain your mental health by using social media in a safe way. Like the first, if you feel uncomfortable, just find the root of what makes you uncomfortable. And if then you go on a social media diet, does scrolling on TikTok and Instagram make me feel better, or I'm feeling down? If staying in sosmed makes you happy, then it's okay. But if it brings you down, just let it go. The third is to create a better online experience. You don't have to follow a celebrity Instagram just because your friends follow them. Press the unfollow button right now if you really don't feel uncomfortable seeing the celebrity. Then later it makes you surrounded by positivity and you have succeeded in changing your online atmosphere and experience, which is comfortable. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's go back to our question. Next. Next, please. Is social media hurting my mental health as a youth?
Time's out.
Answer is, it depends on how you can use it to support your life instead of bring your life down. It depends on you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Astika, for the presentation. And I would like to allow Miss Krishna to give some question.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Ovia, for the time. Sorry that I turned off the camera because of the best connection. Okay, Atika Ramadhani. It's great. Your presentation. I enjoy your presentation. That's. I wanna ask you something. Now, can you imagine that when you access the Instagram and then uh, you see one post, and in that post, Instagram, maybe in the reel or in someone post, there are the bad comment that your friend give on that post. So how would you react? Can you hear me?
Answer your question. So actually, this is kind of like a tips from me. When you see bad comments in the comment section, and that is actually your friends or your family, just reach out to them. The first thing we can do is to fix the people, not the social media. Social media is just a tool for us and we use it. So the first thing that I need to do is like telling my friends that if you really hate that someone, you need to unfollow them. You don't need to always follow the people you had, and which lead you to hate speech or hate comments. So the first thing first, the first tips that I need to give to you guys: if you don't like someone on social media, just don't follow it. Social media provide us with blocks or unfollow buttons, so just do it. Don't be scared because it will ruin you with the negativity vibes. I think that is the tips from me to a safe social media.
Okay, Atika, thank you for the answer.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Krishna, for the question. And I would like to allow Ms. Filza to give some question to Ms. Atika.
All right, Atika. So social media is a tool, and we have to fix the people.
Yeah, I think.
All right, that's with quote. So, what do you think about making some a policy or regulation about using the social media? Let's say, how about if the government make some regulation that people who make some harassment comment will get a punishment or fine about that action? What do you think?
What am I thinking? It's actually happening in our country right now. UU ITE, as we all know. UU ITE is happening right now. But, you know, UU ITE is not working well. Because why? Because our people not working well with that policy. So if policy is there, but people doesn't want to follow the rules, then it's just the same. but so back to my argument in the first in my presentation, I still wanted to change the way of people change their mind. I mean, like, if you still using your social media just to negativity, just stop it. It ruin our social, it ruin our community. So even if there's a policy to punish us, the harassment in social media would not stop if the people still not learning how to make a positive vibes in social media. I think that's people mind right now that are terrible and make social media is a negativity place.
So how do you think we can control the negative comment or negative posting on social media?
Okay, I will give you an answer from my experience. I myself, if I don't want to be commented on my social media, just turn off our comment section. Social media has provided us a lot of things so we can go on social media safely. It's just about how you can use it professionally or how you can use it safely. It depends on you. I myself, I always turn off my comment section because I don't like to be I don't like to be commented by people, because I know if someone commented on me, then I will start to question myself. Am I really like that? Am I really something like this? For example, my friends commenting on me like, gila cantik banget. But then I started to question myself. Is she really mean that thing to me? Is she really mean to say that thing to me? We don't know. It's just starting to make us to feeling guilty, because we know that that person may be commenting like that just for formal way. Like they don't really mean it to me. Thank you.
How do you want to, that's your act, I mean, like, that's your behalf, right, in daily life. How do you want to educate other people or educate your peer to have the same mindset of yours?
Okay, I actually did not like educate like in a socialization, no, but I actually just like to talk my friends, some of my friends, like what I have tell you guys before, like my friends do suicide because she get cyberbullying, and I ask them, what if this keep happening, what if it keeps happening moment at the moment, and it keeps happening in the future? Would you like to see your friends or your families getting down or getting a mental health issues just because this thing of internet, just because their phone? No, right? So start to change your mind. It's just how you talk to people and how they will understand you. But if they don't, I mean, like, there's something with themselves.
All right, that's enough. Thank you.
you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Filza, for the question, and thank you, Miss Atika, for the answer. And we would like to move on the next presenter, the number 7.
Yes, Miss.
Okay.
Can you hear
so
my
Miss-
voice clearly?
Yes, Miss Putri. Wait a minute, I'm gonna share your screen.
Okay.
Yes, can you see my slide?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, I'm gonna do the slideshow and you may start your presentation now.
Okay, hello everyone. As you guys can see on the screen, can you imagine if someone asked you to standing in the middle of the road? Would you do that? Well, it might sound crazy, but in this case, an 18-year-old teen was hit by a truck because of social media trend. Do you know what this trend is? So in order to get likes and fame, a teenager from Tangerang blocked a truck along with his friend who acted as a video recorder. But unfortunately, he was hit by a truck and died. So without us realizing it, cases like this often occur due to social media trends. The fear of missing out, the anxiety of being considered outdated unintentionally becomes a serious issue. The dissatisfaction and the desire for wanting more likes also a driving factor for the teenagers to act like this. And this kind of fear is what we call FOMO. Next. So, hi, I'm Putri Fauzia Bibi, the delegation from Stikas Banyuwangi, and based on my explanation earlier, the topic I will discuss this time is about between likes and loneliness, the impact of social media on Gen Z's mental health. Next. And here's my presentation topic. First is introduction, second causes and the impact, third solution, and lastly is conclusion. Next. So, what is FOMO? To answer this, let me ask you guys a question. What is the first thing you guys usually do in the morning? Drink water or open up your phone? Just be honest with me. I think most of us probably spend more time checking our phones than walking to get water, right? The habit of holding onto gadgets seems unavoidable, from waking up until going to bed again. And what are you really looking for in social media? Have you ever curious about other people's life? Or maybe wondering what activities are they doing now? Or even comparing other people's achievements with your own, until finally feeling dissatisfied with yourself. And worst thing is always wanting to know the latest gossip and not wanting to miss any news. Well, this is what we call it FOMO, or fear of missing out. Next. So FOMO is a fearing of missing out. It is a syndrome that can affect mental health, which is a fear of missing out on events, experiences, or information. The fear of missing out is related to the emotions, motivations, and behaviors of the sufferer. In other words, the fear of missing out is also related to psychological needs. The fear of missing out is mainly triggered by updates on other people's activities through social media. And the fact is that this FOMO is experienced by many Gen Z people. Next. Next. Oh, sorry, go back to the previous slide, please. Okay, now who's Gen Z? Gen Z is the generation born between 1995 and 2010. This means that today, Gen Z is 14 years to 29 years old. They could be in school, college, and some are already working or newly married. Next. And one of the people who belong to Gen Z is me, and the participant of today's competition. And yes, we are Gen Z. Next. And if you look at the data, 1 in 3 Gen Z in Indonesia has more than 3 hours of screen time per day, which is pretty high. Next. So with the most used social media platform is WhatsApp with percentage of 92.1% and Instagram 86.5%. And the third position is Facebook with 83.7% and followed by the next platforms. And this also why Gen Z is called the mobile generation, because we spend most of our time on our gadgets. Next. Why social media become an addiction? To answer this, let's jump to the next slide. So teens often seek validation and recognition through the number of likes and comments on their posts. And likes like this are also associated with a level of popularity and acceptance within the group, which can affect how they view of themselves. This becomes an addiction for teenagers, especially Gen Z, who are most active in using social media. And if they don't get the kind of response they expect, this can lead to FOMO syndrome. Next. So FOMO tends to make teenagers feel lonely. Why? It's because social media content often show a life that seems perfect and full of happiness. This can create a sense of FOMO amongst teenagers, making them feel left out and lonely because they feel they don't have the life they see on social media. Next. And there are several things that drive this to happen. First, it's because excessive social media use. Through excessive use of social media, people can easily compare their life to others. If individuals see that their friends or relatives are having more interesting or successful experience, this may trigger feelings of lack of achievement or satisfaction in their life. So then they feel the fear of missing out. And second is lack of self-esteem. People who are less certain about themselves or dissatisfied with their current lives may be more prone to FOMO. They tend to seek validation by following certain trends, or only feel satisfied when recognized by others. And lastly is social trend. But let me ask you a question. Are you guys happy? What is the happy standard in your life? Do Instagram highlights or reel determine your happy standard? Because these days, social media seems to be the benchmark of happiness. People are competing to show a perfect and glamorous life and make it as a trend. And this has led to many Gen Z being trapped in FOMO state. Next. Next is the impact of FOMO. As you guys can see on the screen, FOMO can cause anxiety, emotional stress, depression, lack of focus and productivity, and also sleep disorders. This can happen because they tend to let fear and worry consume their brain. This then cause many mental health problems, starting from feeling of isolation, loneliness, and then can also have an impact on the physical problems. Next. So what is the solution? First, start with self-awareness. The importance of self-awareness is by getting to know our personal values, interests, and goals to realize that our personal lives are the most important. By understanding ourselves, it is easier to decide what is really important
Waktu
and
tersisa
ignore
3
the
menit.
pressure to always involve ourselves in unnecessary things. Second is time limits on social media. We can set daily or weekly time limits on our social media use. This will help to avoid the habits of being too attached to social media content and allows time to focus and use activities or maybe do some relaxation. And third is family and friend support. The role of parents and friends is really crucial to encourage open community with Gen Z. Having a supportive environment can help individuals to feel more secure and accepted, which can reduce the pressure to be constantly on social media. And lastly is FOMO awareness campaign. We can also create a FOMO awareness campaign in schools, college, or communities to promote open dialogue about the social pressure this generation may experience. And we can also teach strategies to manage them. We can also create a group where we, especially Gen Z, can exchange stories and share more useful activities on social media. And next. And now we are come to the conclusion. Social media has a double impact on teenagers' mental health. While likes can provide positive recognition, and unbalanced use can increase the levels of loneliness and anxiety. With a wise approach and deep understanding, Gen Z can learn to manage and balance the positivity and negative impacts of social media for better mental health. And next. And last, happiness is the art of never having anything unhappy on your mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Putri, for the presentation. And I would like to allow Ms. Risna. Maybe you have some question?
Okay. Thank you, Putri, for your presentation. My question is, what is the role of the institution or the university that they can do to prevent or to reduce the negative impact of social media? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the question, judges. I think the role of college is really important because a college can provide maybe like some policy to filter some internet access or trends that can have a negative impact on our society. And also maybe a college can give some education to provide information to teenagers to their college students about how to wisely use social media so that today's teenagers will not be increasingly exposed to the negative impact of social media. I think that's my answer.
Thank you so much for the answer, Ms. Risna.
Okay. I think it's enough, Putri. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you so much, judges.
Okay, so I would like to allow Ms. Fielda. Maybe you have some question?
All right, Putri. So you mentioned about the self-awareness.
Yes.
What do you think the best strategy to build up the self-awareness among your peer,
Yes.
especially when it comes to social media? Thank you.
Yes. First, thank you so much for the question, judges. I think first that we need to know is it all starts from ourselves. We need to build a good self-esteem to bring up confidence. So we can do that through always think positive and give positive affirmation to ourselves. But support from other people is also very important, such as family or close friend. We can help them to give more attention, and we have to make them feel comfortable and safe in socializing. And but for me, but personally, I think what is really important is always thinking and giving positive information to ourselves. It can help us from overthinking, and positive information can also make us feel calm and more confident. I think that's my answer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, judges.
All right, thank you, Ms. Filza and Ms. Putri for the question and answer. And the last people in this room is number 8. Contestant number 8, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. To the operator, can you please just press next one time on the slide? The animation will pop up itself. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Araya. I'm from ITSK Rumah Sakit Dr. Supraun, Kesdam 5, Brawijaya, Malang. Today, I'm going to present about, next please, youth plus social media. Is it a blessing or a curse? Next, please. The World Health Organization defines youth as someone who is 15 until 24 years old. As we can see on this chart, the youths are part of Gen Zs. And a survey done by Morning Consult found that 54% of Gen Zs spend at least 4 hours a day on social media. Next. What are social media? Next, I tell you what it is. Please, let's play a game. Please raise your right hand up like this. And for every icon that you recognize, swing your head to your right hand, just like this. Are you ready? Now, do you know what this is? What about this one? What about this one? Do you know what this yellow one is? Ah, the classic red button. Next. Next. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube. These are all social media platforms. How many did you get right? I got 5, and I'm sure you got it all right too. Based on the Cambridge Dictionary, social media are websites and computer programs that allow people to communicate and share information on the internet using computer or mobile phone. Next. Based on the Central Statistic Agency, has found that 94% of youths who have accessed the internet in the last 3 months search for social media, a whopping 84.3%, which is then followed by accessing the news and for entertainment purposes, in which 96% of them uses the internet by their phones. Next. Next. These are the negatives and positives of social media. The negatives include fear of missing out, which causes teenagers to jump in on reckless trends, exposure to dangerous people who might cause harm, cyberbullying, which then leads to self-esteem issues, which then could trigger mental health problems. And I'll explain the positive later. Next. Next. How often have you scrolled your phone just to pass time, but then you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, and suddenly an hour had passed? Oh, maybe even 3. Oops. How did time slip away so quickly? Next. Well, it's not your fault, because essentially human beings are social creatures, and it doesn't help that social media are designed to be as addicting as possible. Never say no. Social media provides you with everything that you could ever want. If something is uninteresting, which it rarely is, you would easily jump from one platform to the other, spoiling your senses. Bright colors, catchy tunes, interesting content, and no stopping cues makes it so hard to stop scrolling. Why? Because everything is just so interesting. Dopamine loop. The dopamine levels in your brain increases each time your post is liked or engaged in a positive way. This makes it hard to resist social media and fall into a social media addiction. Next. And it can get sticky pretty quickly. Nancy, the director of behavioral health of Jefferson, states that the overuse of social media can rewire a teenage brain, which leads them to seek immediate gratification, leading to obsessive, compulsive, and addictive behaviors, causes mental health disorders such as anxiety, ADHD, and depression. Next. Based on the survey of Indonesian National Adolescent Mental Health, has found that 1 in 20 adolescents were diagnosed with mental disorder, and more than 1 in 3 had at least one mental health problems. Next. This survey is a collaboration, next, between Indonesian researchers, Australian researchers, and the US. And it has found that the most common mental disorders among teenagers are anxiety, a whopping 26.7%, which is followed by ADHD, 10.6%, and depression, 5.3%. Next. Mental health disorders are as important as any other disorders. Not only does it lowers one's quality of life, but if left untreated, could cause health diseases. For example, untreated anxiety increases risk of cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure. Depression causes obesity, physical pain, and risk of harmful coping mechanism. ADHD causes trouble concentrating and increased risk of depression. Next. Are you concerned? Well, you should be. Next. Next, please. Because according to the Ministry of Home Affairs, the youths dominates Indonesia's population by a whopping 68.6 million people. Isn't that a lot? Next, please. Now, what can we do? We can run away from social media, so might as well protect our mental health from it. Conscious usage, intentionally using social media and keeping it brief. Prioritize people. Set up no phone zones during mealtime with family and friends. Social media can never be a replacement for real-world human interaction. Avoid internet trolls. Internet trolls are people online who deliberately tries to make others upset and offend other people. It is best to keep away from them to keep our mental health at bay. Next.
Waktu tersisa 3 menit.
Okay, thank you. Are social media that bad? Well, social media has tons of benefits too, you know. Next, please. The benefits include well-connected. With the push of a button, you can be connected with everyone, everywhere, no matter how far you are. Information paradise. From chocolate cake recipe to outfit inspiration, social media have it all. Creative outlet. You can spark your creativity by discovering new ideas and perspective. Economic growth. Social media acts as a bridge between consumers and businesses and makes it easier for businesses to promote their products and services. And in return, increases sales. Next. Before I end today's presentation, please let me tell you a story about a Native American story, The Two Wolves. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. Next. One is evil, and the other is good. The same fight is going on inside you and every other person too. Next. The grandson thought for a moment, then asked, "Which wolf will win?" The grandfather replied, "It's the one you feed." Next, please. Back to our very first question. Youth plus social media, a blessing or a curse? Next. It all depends on what you do with it. Will you feed the black wolf or the white wolf? Choose wisely. Next. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Miss Araya, for the presentation. Such a well presentation. And I would like to Miss Risna. May you have a question for Miss Araya? Miss Risna? Okay, since Miss Risna has a trouble in her signal, I would like to allow Miss Rizwa first. Maybe she has a question for you.
All right. Araya, that was a great presentation.
Yes.
So, how do you think we can implement? I mean, like, what is the step by step to implement what you propose about the benefit of social media?
Well, the benefits of social media can be implemented by using social media intentionally. As I said, conscious usage. If you want to use social media, use it by intention and keeping it brief. Do not mindlessly scroll on social media for hours and hours. And you need to make sure that you keep your mental health in check. If someone is commenting you in a bad way, like as I said, internet trolls, people who are deliberately trying to offend people online because that is how they get their happiness, you need to block them. Besides from that, social media has tons of its benefits. So you can choose wisely which part of social media do you want to play in.
What strategy do you think is the best way to make the other people aware about your point of view?
Well, I think consciousness is the very first thing that people need to implement in themselves. For example, if I'm a conscious user, but my friend is not a conscious user, and I tell her, hey, you cannot do that. It's better if you do this. But if she doesn't want to be conscious and she doesn't want to listen to me, then it won't work. It starts from the person. You need to realize and you need to implement it.
Yeah, that's all from me. Thank
you very much.
Thank you, Miss Filza and Miss Araya. Such a good conversation. And I see that Miss Risna is already joined in the Zoom again. Miss Risna?
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you, Araya, for the presentation. Okay, Araya. Nowadays, we can see that many people, when they use their phone, they ignore the people. They ignore the people. Sometimes when we are in the place and there are many people, and they prefer to use their phone rather than talking to the people beside them. Okay, what do you think about this phenomenon, and how do you react to this thing nowadays? Okay.
Okay, essentially, human beings are social creatures, as I said before. And may I speak in Indonesia? Tak kenal maka tak sayang. Same goes to the people around us. If we're in a new place where we don't know anybody yet, it is very tempting to open our phone and scroll. Why? Because we don't know them. But essentially we are social creatures, right? If we know the people, we are trying to make friends, we will definitely put down our phones and choose to socialize with other people around us.
Okay, Araya, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think it's enough.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Risna and Miss Arya, for the good conversation. And it will wrap up our presentation for today. We already seen all the 8 candidates on the English presentation skill. And I would like to ask Miss Fail, is there any? Okay, so I just get the news from Miss Lailil, and we would like all of you, to wait a little bit because we will discuss about the champion of this English presentation skill for a minute. So please be patient.
Hai Bintang.
Hai Anin.
Halo semuanya.
Selamat datang di Universitas Dr. Subandi. Perkenalkan, nama saya Bintang.
Dan saya Anin. Hari ini kita akan mengajak kalian untuk virtual campus tour. Penasaran kan? Yuk ikuti kita. Universitas Dr. Subandi berlokasi di Jalan Dr. Subandi nomor 99 Cangkring Patrang, Kecamatan Patrang, Kabupaten Jember, Jawa Timur. Universitas Dr. Subandi memiliki 4 bangunan gedung, yaitu gedung A, B, C, dan D. Sekarang kita berada di dalam gedung A. Di dalam gedung A ini terdapat ruang kelas yang digunakan untuk kegiatan belajar mengajar mahasiswa. Di sini mereka dapat belajar dengan nyaman karena di dalamnya terdapat fasilitas-fasilitas yang memadai seperti AC, proyektor, dan yang pasti kursi yang nyaman.
Nah, sekarang saya sedang berada di gedung B. Buat kamu yang penasaran dengan fasilitas laboratorium Universitas Dr. Subandi, yuk!
Selamat datang di laboratorium terpadu.
Laboratorium Anak untuk mengkaji pertumbuhan dan perkembangan anak. Laboratorium Anatomi dan Fisiologi digunakan untuk mengkaji struktur tubuh dan fungsinya. Laboratorium UGD digunakan untuk praktikum serta melatih kecakapan mahasiswa dengan pasien gawat darurat. Laboratorium Maternitas, Laboratorium KB, Laboratorium Holistik, Laboratorium Kritis, Laboratorium Keperawatan Medikal Bedah, dan yang terakhir Laboratorium Dasar digunakan untuk mempelajari tentang kebutuhan dasar manusia.
Selain laboratorium kesehatan yang berada pada gedung B, di dalam gedung C juga terdapat laboratorium yang digunakan untuk mahasiswa prodi farmasi. Yuk kita lihat bersama-sama. Di sini, mahasiswa farmasi dapat melakukan kegiatan praktikum yang berhubungan dengan bahan kimia. Dengan fasilitas yang menunjang keterampilan mahasiswa, laboratorium farmasi klinis juga berfungsi untuk kegiatan praktikum menguji efek yang dihasilkan oleh senyawa obat tertentu. Untuk menghasilkan mahasiswa yang kompeten di bidang farmasi, di dalam laboratorium farmasetika, mahasiswa dapat melatih keterampilannya dengan praktikum yang berhubungan dengan peracikan obat-obatan. Universitas Dr. Subandi juga menyediakan laboratorium teknologi farmasi. Mahasiswa melakukan praktik pembuatan persediaan obat menggunakan teknologi dengan taraf industri. Laboratorium instrumen Laboratorium Steril Teknologi Farmasi, Laboratorium Biologi Mikrobiologi, dan Laboratorium Biologi Fitokimia. Nah, sekarang kita berada di depan Convention Hall Universitas Dr. Subandi.
Universitas Dr. Subandi juga mendukung mahasiswanya di bidang minat dan passion dalam dunia ekonomi maupun bisnis.
Selain ruang kelas yang berada pada gedung A, di dalam gedung D ini juga terdapat ruang kelas yang digunakan untuk mahasiswa Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis yang disediakan dengan berbagai fasilitas juga loh.
Wah, ini sih bagus sih.
Membaca adalah hal yang paling dasar untuk mencapai hidup yang lebih baik. Perpustakaan Universitas Dr. Subandi menyediakan berbagai macam buku untuk sumber ilmu, inspirasi, serta bahan pembelajaran.
Di dalam perpustakaan Universitas Dr. Subandi juga disediakan beberapa unit komputer untuk menunjang kegiatan belajar mengajar mahasiswa. Di era digital ini, Universitas Dr. Subandi juga sangat mendukung mahasiswanya agar terus berkontribusi untuk masyarakat dengan cara menggunakan teknologi sebaik-baiknya.
Untuk mendorong mahasiswa di era digital tersebut, di dalam laboratorium komputer ini, Universitas Dr. Subandi menyediakan berbagai macam fasilitas seperti komputer, proyektor, dan yang lain-lain. Salah satu unit kegiatan mahasiswa yang bisa kalian ikuti ada UKM Tari. Tari ada tari tradisional dan tari modern. Yuk kita lihat bersama-sama. Universitas Dr. Subandi juga memfasilitasi mahasiswanya dalam bidang olahraga basket.
Buat kalian yang suka basket, langsung aja gabung sama kami yuk.
UKM futsal, UKM volley, UKM bulu tangkis, UKM pencak silat, UKM KSR, UKM musik, UKM paduan suara, UKM e-sport, UKM keagamaan, dan UKM karya ilmiah mahasiswa. Nah, gimana? Seru kan?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang di Universitas Dr. Subandi Jember. Sebagai wujud kepedulian terhadap pembangunan nasional, khususnya dalam ikut serta mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa, Universitas Dr. Subandi Jember mempunyai visi besar, baik jangka pendek, jangka menengah, dan jangka panjang. Antara lain,
Jadi, itu dia virtual campus tour dari Universitas Dr. Subandi. Selain fasilitas dan sarana yang sudah kalian lihat tadi, masih banyak fasilitas yang lainnya loh.
Untuk info lebih lanjut, kunjungi website Universitas Dr. Subandi di www.uds.sc.id.
Dan jangan lupa follow akun Instagram kita @universitasdrSubandi.
Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa.
Hai Bintang.
Hai Anin.
Halo semuanya.
Selamat datang di Universitas Dr. Subandi. Perkenalkan, nama saya Bintang.
Dan saya Anin. Hari ini kita akan mengajak kalian untuk virtual campus tour. Penasaran kan? Yuk ikuti kita.
Universitas Dr. Subandi berlokasi di Jalan Dr. Subandi nomor 99 Cangkring Patrang, Kecamatan Patrang, Kabupaten Jember, Jawa Timur. Universitas Dr. Subandi memiliki 4 bangunan gedung, yaitu gedung A, B, C, dan D. Sekarang kita berada di dalam gedung A. Di dalam gedung A ini terdapat ruang kelas yang digunakan untuk kegiatan belajar mengajar mahasiswa. Di sini mereka dapat belajar dengan nyaman karena di dalamnya terdapat fasilitas-fasilitas yang memadai seperti AC, proyektor, dan yang pasti kursi yang nyaman.
Nah, sekarang saya sedang berada di gedung B. Buat kamu yang penasaran dengan fasilitas laboratorium Universitas Dr. Subandi, yuk!
Selamat datang di laboratorium terpadu.
Laboratorium Anak untuk mengkaji pertumbuhan dan perkembangan anak. Laboratorium Anatomi dan Fisiologi digunakan untuk mengkaji struktur tubuh dan fungsinya. Laboratorium UGD digunakan untuk praktikum serta melatih kecakapan mahasiswa dengan pasien gawat darurat. Laboratorium Maternitas, Laboratorium KB, Laboratorium Holistik, Laboratorium Kritis, Laboratorium Keperawatan Medikal Bedah, dan yang terakhir Laboratorium Dasar digunakan untuk mempelajari tentang kebutuhan dasar manusia.
Selain laboratorium kesehatan yang berada pada gedung B, di dalam gedung C juga terdapat laboratorium yang digunakan untuk mahasiswa prodi farmasi. Yuk kita lihat bersama-sama. Di sini, mahasiswa farmasi dapat melakukan kegiatan praktikum yang berhubungan dengan bahan kimia. Dengan fasilitas yang menunjang keterampilan mahasiswa, laboratorium farmasi klinis juga berfungsi untuk kegiatan praktikum menguji efek yang dihasilkan oleh senyawa obat tertentu. Untuk menghasilkan mahasiswa yang kompeten di bidang farmasi, di dalam laboratorium farmasetika, mahasiswa dapat melatih keterampilannya dengan praktikum yang berhubungan dengan peracikan obat-obatan. Universitas Dr. Subandi juga menyediakan laboratorium teknologi farmasi. Mahasiswa melakukan praktik pembuatan persediaan obat menggunakan teknologi dengan taraf industri. Laboratorium instrumen, laboratorium steril teknologi farmasi, laboratorium biologi mikrobiologi, dan laboratorium biologi fitokimia. Nah, sekarang kita berada di depan Convention Hall Universitas Dr. Subandi.
Universitas Dr. Subandi juga mendukung mahasiswanya di bidang minat dan passion dalam dunia ekonomi maupun bisnis.
Selain ruang kelas yang berada pada gedung A, di dalam gedung D ini juga terdapat ruang kelas yang digunakan untuk mahasiswa Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis yang disediakan dengan berbagai fasilitas juga loh.
Hai.
Wah, ini sih bagus sih.
Membaca adalah hal yang paling dasar untuk mencapai hidup yang lebih baik. Perpustakaan Universitas Dr. Subandi menyediakan berbagai macam buku untuk sumber ilmu, inspirasi, serta bahan pembelajaran.
Di dalam perpustakaan Universitas Dr. Subandi juga disediakan beberapa unit komputer untuk menunjang kegiatan belajar mengajar mahasiswa. Di era digital ini, Universitas Dr. Subandi juga sangat mendukung mahasiswanya agar terus berkontribusi untuk masyarakat dengan cara menggunakan teknologi sebaik-baiknya.
Untuk mendorong mahasiswa di era digital tersebut, di dalam laboratorium komputer ini, Universitas Dr. Subandi menyediakan berbagai macam fasilitas seperti komputer, proyektor, dan yang lain-lain. Salah satu satu unit kegiatan mahasiswa yang bisa kalian ikuti ada UKM Tari. Tari ada tari tradisional dan tari modern. Yuk kita lihat bersama-sama. Universitas Dr. Subandi juga memfasilitasi mahasiswanya dalam bidang olahraga basket.
Buat kalian yang suka basket, langsung aja gabung sama kami yuk.
UKM futsal, UKM volley, UKM bulu tangkis, UKM pencak.
Okay, thank you so much for your patience, and I would like all of you to open your camera so we will have a chance to take a picture. Oh, di HP ya, ya WA satunya ya. Since all of you already opened the camera, we only have one side. So 1, 3, 2, 1, cheers. Okay. So I would like to have another picture. You may have used any kind of pose you like. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much. So the moment that you already been waiting for, maybe you have nauseous and anxious right now because we will have to, announce the champion of the English presentation skill for PORNIKES 2020 and 24. Okay, so okay. So as you see that we already have 8 people in this final of English presentation, and we would like have the best media, best speech, best content, best performance, and champion number 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. Okay. So we would like to present you the best media is coming from Universitas. Okay, Universitas Katolik de la Salle Manado. Congratulations for best media performance. Okay, we would like to move on the next category. We would like to announce for the best speech. Who would like to be the best speech? So the best speech for today's final is ITSK Supraun. Okay, congratulations for ITSK Supraun. And then we would like to move on the best content. The best content for the final of English presentation is from the Universitas Dr. Subandi. Okay, congratulations. So we would like to move on the best performance. Best performance is Poltekkes Kemenkes Kupang. Congratulations for the best performance. And we will have the championship number 3. There will be two champion on the third championship level. The first one is Stikes Patria Husada Blitar. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. And then we would like to move on the third championship level. It's from Universitas Banyuwangi. Stikes Banyuwangi, I'm sorry. Okay, so we will left with only two candidates. The first one is from Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, and the last one is from Stikes Kepanjen. So this is okay. Congratulations for Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. And then for the winner of English Presentation Skill of PORNIKES 2024 is Stikes Kepanjen. Okay, so congratulations for all the champion here. All of you have been doing so great, and congratulations again for all the presentation. What did you do for the past 2 days? Thank you so much for your attention, and we will see you on the next event. Congratulations for all the championship. You did all good. Terima kasih kepada juri. Thank you Miss Filza and Miss Rizna for helping us being a judges today. And thank you so much for the attention, and see you on the next event. Congratulations. Mohon maaf kalau misalkan kami ada kesalahan dalam proses, mungkin terganggu atau apapun. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya, dan terima kasih semua sudah berproses. Selamat untuk semuanya.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice
y'all.
day.
See you. Yeay, kita menang.